Hello everyone, I am Nikita from Abstin Infotech. Super excited and delighted to have you all for today's webinar, Impact of Gen Z in the Workplace, Shaping the Future of Work, powered by Arriba HRMS. So before we start, let me have some quick pointers for all the attendees. The session is being recorded and link will be shared in your inbox later. Drop your question anytime in our Q&A box and we will address them at the end. Stay with us till the end and we have some exciting takeaways for you. So here I'll start with quick question. How are today's emerging professionals reshaping the way we work and communicate? Yes, I'm going to talk about generation that has been Googling since they were toddlers, prefer DM over emails, and does not shy away from asking why at work. That's right. I'm going to talk about Gen Z, the newest wave of professionals who are bold, digitally native, and value driven as well. They are not just joining the workplaces but also reshaping it. And today we are going to explore how. So, to help us decode this generational shift, we have an incredible panel for HR experts today. Let me quickly introduce our first expert for today, powerhouse in HR leadership, Mr. Balasubramanian Sethuraman from Parik Integrated Services, with 26 plus years of experience in transforming workplaces. He is a CHRO, leadership coach, and data-driven strategist who believe in turning HR into a growth engine, a Lean Six Sigma certified as well as DISC certified professional, also winner of the HR Innovator Leader of the Year Awardee. So get ready to be inspired by someone who does not just manage the talent but shaping the future of workforce as well. Next, we have a TEDx speaker, proud GCC Awardee, and someone whose energy for transforming organization is compelling. Let's welcome Mr. Yashpal Singh Parihar from Sonovision Autic Group. He is not just a strategist, but behind the scene, he is a change maker who brings real transformation. So he is here to share practical insight that you can take back and apply. Unfortunately, Mr. Suresh Sabnani about to join the webinar as a speaker, but he is not there. All right. So guiding today's conversation with insight and clarity is none other than by the moderator of the day, with a rich experience into the talent engagement, people strategy, and organizational culture. She brings both depth and direction to a dialogue. Her thoughtful leadership in HR and passion for building people-centric workplaces make her the perfect moderator to navigate the dynamic discussion for the day. So we are in great hands today. Welcome Ms. Anushree Rai from the Modern Data Company. With now that, I request Anushree to kick off the conversation. Over to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Nikita. I'm honored to be here. Good evening, everyone. And I'm so excited to welcome you guys to today's conversation, the impact of Gen Z in the workplace and how they're shaping the future of work. Now, let's set the scene, right? The Gen Zs are defined by a generation which was born roughly between 1997 to 2012, 2013. Post that, we are followed by Gen Alpha, which is also a very different generation as such. But the Gen Zs are no more than new generation of workers. They're here and they are shaping our teams and they're doing it very, very fast. By 2025, this year, they'll make up to 30% of the global workforce. And hence, it's very important to think about them. But this 30% isn't just a number story, right? It's a mindset shift. The Gen Z bring a unique blend of digital fluency, social consciousness, entrepreneurial spirit, and a deep hunger for authenticity and purpose. They are rewriting the rules on flexibility, communication, mental health, how we see learning, and what it means to do people work. And let's be honest, some of this is exhilarating, and some of it can feel like a wake-up call for organizations still rooted in the older model. And I'm sure a lot of us have heard the kids nowadays being called out in the workplaces, across boardrooms, across founders. I think this is one very, very out there kind of a topic, right? So today we're not just here to talk about a generation that's Gen Z, but we are here to explore that how we as HR leaders, business leaders, and culture shapers can adopt, evolve, and build workplaces that this generation can actually thrive in. So let's get ready for a candid and energetic conversation. Given Bala and Yashpal, I'm sure we're going to hear very candid opinions here. So, because if there's one thing that that generation demands is that we come here as our authentic human selves. So before I throw the first question to our panel members, Nikita, can we run a poll in terms of what is the biggest value Gen Z brings to your organization?
Sure.
So there are 5 options: fresh perspectives and innovation. Next is digital fluency and tech adoption. Third is challenging the outdated norms and assumptions. Fourth is driving purpose and social responsibility. And last option is pushing for inclusivity and equity. And if you have any other questions, you can type it in any other way that you believe Gen Z is adding value to the business. You can put it in the chat. Okay. So, guys, if you could give us any emoji to know whether the poll is actually visible to you, and are you guys able to go through it? Okay. Yes, it's visible and people are giving in their inputs. Thank you for letting us know. I mean, emojis act as a great way for us to interact throughout this discussion. And I hope we'll continue putting in how we are feeling through emojis throughout this session. Right? Nikita, if we have good enough votes in, we would like to see the poll so that the next question around what value the Generation Z brings into the business can be, answered by esteemed panel members. Yashpal, you're on mute, I think. Cannot hear you.
It's technology. I'm so sorry. Yeah. So, can you pardon that question, please, for me?
Yes. So the question is, what according to you is the value that Gen Z brings to the business today?
Nice question. I think they can bring in many things, but Saman, you started with having a conversation about the differences in the generations, right? We all aware. Am I loud and clear? Am I loud and clear? Okay, fabulous. So we talked about the differences in terms of generations, what you bring in Gen Zs and what was different in the previous generation and previous to previous generation, and the generation which is like a grandparents of us, yours, Bala's, me, and Nikita's, right? So let's start from the top of the pyramid. I think so far I believe till current generation we must have seen 4 right from the top of the pyramid, which are like the grandparents of ours. They were the people, those who were actually looking to survive, to have the jobs, to have the food, to have shelter. They were the super premium, loyal, generation to their team. So those were the people that never, whatever the situation, they never used to leave the job. Right? It was all about the survival. It was nothing else. Now the second generation, which is almost, the X, right? They've started getting more of, the survival has been taken care by their parents, right? But now they've started, because this is where the time the IT company era started, and they've started getting more opportunities. So opportunities were more as compared to the previous generation, right? So there is a shift in the mindset. So there is nothing about the survival. They have started thinking about more of an standard of living, right? Now the third comes, which is millennials, right? I mean, then this is where the generation the aspirations, right? It's not about survival. It's not about the standard of living. It's about the bigger aspirations, right? That, people have started buying cars, mobiles on EMIs, right? Even if they don't have money in their pockets, right? I mean, standard survival, I mean, bigger aspirations from every corner, right? From their jobs, from their personal life, their social life, whatever, right? Now, this is again where the opportunities were high, and this generation, like, they never stay with one organization for a long, right? So there was no loyalty at the first instance. Now we talk about the Gen Zs, right? Gen Zs can bring in a lot of things, right? But you need to understand, what Gen Zs are all about right now, right? You talked about we as a company, as an HR, as a leader. See, understand one thing. We as an HR, as in leaders, are living in a very difficult and uncomfortable situation nowadays, because you're dealing with human anxiety, you're dealing with human uncertainty, you're dealing with human ambition, you're dealing with human expecting quality of life over the standard of living and survival. Yeah. So, I mean, to all the Gen Zs, right? I mean, I'm not sure how many are here on the call right now, but it is a time when we talk to people, right? And when we go somewhere and when we see people, right? Those who are freshers and people, you always talk about the things that it's not just about how you think. It's about taking the ownership of what you are doing. Let's not just clock in, clock out. You should take the ownership of what you are doing, right, in order to contribute more for yourself and for your organization. At the same time, the companies, the organization, the leaders, the HR has to understand that stop functioning the way we have been. Stop thinking, the functioning the traditional way of dealing with the current workforce. This is definitely not going to work, right? And this the time, because if you need to start building in the organization, you need to have a more of an success story within the organization. To have the core values, you need to be transparent to those people. You need to provide them the quality that they have to see the roadmap in your organization. So once they see that, right, they brings in a lot of digital knowledge, right? It's like an inbuilt in that. They bring in, a great energy. It's obviously that, they wanted to get into a corporate and they want to earn something, not just by the money, but at the same time, they want to earn their different multiple skills, right? Third thing, when you start giving the ownership to those Gen Zs, right, they will feel good, right? The time you'll say that, okay, you just go and wait for 6 months, 5 months, 1 year. You're just a fresher, right? You will not be able to deliver this, right? I think this is again a traditional way of dealing with the people, right? God knows, right? A person who recently passed out can deliver what you cannot deliver. So, I mean, the long story short here is to conclude my statement that Gen Zs can bring in a lot of things. It's about us to think untraditional now and to give them the ownership, give them the confidence, right? And I'm really sure that by having this collective efforts of everything, right, they will be in the situation to feel good and they'll be able to get on the right route in their careers. Thank you.
Thank you, Yashpal. Over to you, Bala. What, in your experience, has been the newer things that Gen Zs bring to the organization?
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Yashpal. It was really a wonderful take on the values that the Gen Zs bring to the table, and a very good, I will say, sequencing of what the audience would want. Our real good moderator Anushree has put together a nice set of questionnaires, which I'm sure the audience would also have it in their mind to ask. Before I start with my answer, I would like to thank Arriba HRMS and Nikita for having us here, and I'm sure, and to the audience for taking the time off from their busy schedules to be here and be a part of this wonderful, engaging webinar, I'm sure. So just to give you my perspective, I think the Gen Zs, I would not want to brand them as Gen Z. I would want to brand them as the younger, energetic team members who come on board with us with a lot more tech savvy and knowledgeable way of working, which helps us actually automate a lot of stuff the way we have been doing traditionally, as Yashpal just mentioned. What worked for X generation will never work for this generation or moving forward as well. Because I think the exposure that all of us have got over the years has kind of changed. And from where I was just having a conversation even today morning with my team, and I have a mix of multi-generational workforce. So I have someone who's 53-year-old and I have someone who is 22-year-old as well in the team. And you can't really deal with them the same way. Each one has their own aspirations. Each one has their own thought process. I think the best part about the energetic workforce that we have is they think a little one step ahead because they are very well read. They go through a lot of literature, not in terms of books, but in terms of the quick bites that they receive when they go through an Insta or a LinkedIn or YouTube. I would not say that they are avid readers. I mean, I've not come across many of the young energetic workforce who go through the pains of reading through the entire book. They would just go through a summary and they'll get an answer in terms of what's in store for them going forward. So I would put it this way, that they teach us how to work smart, how to think on our feet, how to give us a solution, moving away from the traditional way and looking at it more from what can save their time in doing a particular task, which we would have taken maybe 1 hour. They would try to finish it off in 10 minutes so that they can go for a coffee break or just want to go for a leisure break. So I would put it this way, that they are teaching us to work much more smarter than what we have been accustomed to or how we have worked and grown over the years. So it's not that we were not smart. It's just that we did not have the leisure of the technology that they are exposed to right now.
Absolutely. I think if you put it on us, let's say, Bala, I'm sure that you will also don't like to be on a long calls, right? Whether you just have a minute of contribution and you'll sit on a call for 2 hours.
True.
And the traditional ways, when your boss or somebody from top leadership is sending you this invitation, keeping you in two, right? Which means you have to click yes. And you can't ask, right, that what would be your contribution in this email, right? Although you have written like 3-4 liner of agenda, you wait for 2 hours on the call and then you feel like, okay, my turn, when? My turn, when? And see the call get finished, and then at the end, thanks for joining, see you soon. So this is again this is just one of the case I'm talking about, right? What generation doesn't want nowadays? And I'm sure that Anu must be having more things to add on than but like I said, that untraditional traditional is something, what is mixing up between the generations and even the organization. That is where post-COVID we have got lot of challenges because India never had this thing that we never used to with the work from home stuff. But the other part of the world, which is if you go to EMEA, if you go to NASA, North America, South America, right, you see the people were habitual in doing the work from homes, right? But now here in India, when we post-COVID, when we started, during the COVID as well, when the company started asking people to come to the office, right? They say, okay, cafeteria, not good. All right, cabins, desk, not good. So, see, it's about the counseling, having the transparent communication, having one-on-ones, right? There are a lot of things, and this could be short thing. There could be not a longer thing. You need to make a fancy plan to have it like for 6 months and a year. No, there's no plan required. It's just like in person-to-person frequency required, right? And right from the top of the pyramid, every leader has to understand, that they need to go and talk to their people, right? And to have them feel that, they're there. It's no gap. They can talk to them. They can approach them, right? Otherwise, resignation is like, it's just like you say something, they go to the desk, I'll put my resignation. Here you go. You can't do much about it. Yeah. Okay.
Amazing.
Anu, sorry.
Amazing points. I think this is as an organization, I think now there's a need to be more empathetic to the different generations that we are dealing with. Right? and rightly how you guys have called out how there are different ways of working and how they are helping us in some ways, being more humbler would help us out. And I think transparency is becoming extremely important for this generation to give, join those contexts to what they are actually doing. So given that, we've heard things around how this particular generation is adding value to the organizations. Now let's move on to more ways of working kind of a thing, right? So we've tried to cover a few themes and would like to share you guys. So first is around the work structure and flexibility. We do have a poll around this, which are typical benefits of the ways of working that Gen Z that matters to the Gen Z. Nikita, if you could run the poll and let us know the answer. While I request Yashpal to take this question, right? So what I want to understand, or what we as a team want to understand is, how does Gen Z's approach to work-life balance differ from the previous generation? Is it just about locations? Is it just about hours? Or is it about the schedules? Or is it something deeper? So how does the Gen Z approach change compared to the previous generations?
You said at the beginning itself that one third of the generation, like almost into is covering our global workforce is the the Gen Zs, right? I mean, that doesn't matter. You like it, you don't like it. I mean, you have to being into the zone that you need to understand what they want from us to operate in a way that we can get the enough of productivity from them. One thing. Second, I think there are some projects, there are some profiles, and there are some roles, right, which required to be at work from office. There are some of the roles, jobs in the corporate, or I mean, in any industry. You go to automobile, IT, or I work for an aerospace now, right? So now I got to know that there are something what we can't do it, right? We have almost, people working from home and office together, but there are some part of people who has to be in the office because of, security reasons and because of multiple stuffs and all that, right? We can't allow those particular people to go there and to work from home, right? Now, the third thing is when you are trying to understand what Gen Zs want, right? I think I am very sure about it. Everyone look to have the flexibility around it. No one wants, right? Even we don't want ourselves that our boss will ask us to be in the office from 10 to 5 or 6, whatever, right? And I think Bala will laugh on this, and I remember, Anu, you will also remember that there was a time when we used to punch in and punch out, right? And I remember those days. I will not take the name of the company. I mean, even if you are like 5 minutes late, then there could be an LWP, right? And you need to get that approved immediately from your reporting manager, right? But here, the scenario, the shifting has completely is completely different now. We are not doing all that, right? As an organization, as an HR leader, and as a boss, right? So which means that looking at that, we need to, flexibility is very important. Working hours, right? Why would you bother about the working hours, right? As for me, I think I personally, if I talk about my thoughts, I will not bother about the working hours. What I bother about is to talk whenever, I mean, in a day, right? Once you need to have a conversation about what are the priorities, what are the second level priorities, or what can be can be done like tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and which can be as a task which can wait for a week or so, right? Once it is done, it's done, right? And we just expect our people to come and just update us in saying, Yash, this is done, right? Would you like to have a look at it? This is what I need, right? I will not go and call, where are you, and why you're away, and all that stuff, right? So when you give that flexibility, the ownership, because see, when I talked about the ownership, right? When you give the ownership, which means that you should not bother about the working hours, right? You should not bother about a person coming to the office 4 days, 5 days a week. No, I think if you give that confidence, that trust in your people, giving them the flexibility, they will definitely, like I said before, in collaboration with all these efforts, the productivity will get increased, the stability will get increased, the retention ratio will get increased, company will grow, Gen Zs will grow, we also grow, right? It's about giving them the trust, the ownership. That's it.
Yes. Yes. I think the poll results are in, and people have written around flexible work hours, remote or hybrid working, and freedom to take breaks and recover. Right, because a lot of it is covered around the concept of accountability, of ownership, and that is something that drives a lot of purpose within the organization. Right now. Moving on to the next question that I have, it is for you, Bala. And we'll start, given that we have already caught up onto the purpose thingy. We'll start in terms of how do you align Gen Zs with the purpose of the organization, right? How important is for this generation to be a sense of alignment with the organization's mission for their day-to-day engagement, and how as organizations are we putting in structures or interventions where these people know how their roles connect to the bigger picture of the organization or to the bigger causes that they support?
Sure. Again, this generation or any generation, I think the first important aspect that we need to look forward is to ensure that we as an organization, we as a leadership team, we as the management team are very clear on what needs to be communicated, how it needs to be communicated, when it needs to be communicated, and what is going to be the end outcome. This is exactly what the young, energetic workforce of today demands. It's not request. They demand to be very given a very clear understanding about the purpose, what's in it for them, and how they are going to be actually getting moving forward. So if you kind of tell them that you do a particular task and we will come back to you with a review feedback in 3 months time, I mean before you complete the conversation, as Yashpal put it right, they would have gone and given in their resignation as well. So they are very clear in terms of, if you want me to be a part of the bigger picture, let me know how am I going to add value, how am I going to make a difference, and where is it that I need to really work towards. Yes, the only caveat that here we have is they become a little stressed when you actually give them a feedback on their face. At times they do not accept it. They kind of are very rigid to accept it because it's like a know-it-all attitude. I have one Gen Z at my home as well, so I really know. So I get that experience of handling a Gen Z at home as well. It's not only my younger son that I'm talking about, even my niece. So they are very clear in terms of what they want, how they want things to be, and you let us know how are we going to add value in terms of, even if we have to arrange for an offsite. For example, when we were told to arrange for an offsite when we were as young as junior in the organization, we would have been very excited and we would have just not even questioned. As Yashpal put in one email from the boss that you need to do it, and we would have been all energetic to go and just blindly start without even asking a question. But if you ask the same thing to be done by this generation, they'll have 5 pointers to you. Why, how, when, and it's like, instead of me making them work, they will make us work with all the questionnaires and we need to answer it to them, and then they will take things forward. So the rationale is they would want to be a part of the bigger picture. They would want to add value as a contributor, and they would want to place in the boardroom in a very fast and a quick pace. However, they would also want us to give them a clarity in terms of how we are going to take it forward, with a clear-cut indication that we are not going to be monitoring them on a regular basis. We are going to give them their space to work and do things the way they want to. And yes, we can guide them and mentor them rather than train them. I think that's something that I have also learned over the last 3 years, wherein I had inducted few Gen Zs, and I've realized that the earlier way of speaking to them and getting them to work does not at times work. You need to give them that space. You need to give them the broader picture with what's in it for them, and then they take it forward. So the earlier caveat of, if you do this, I'll give you this, doesn't work with them. at all. I mean, if you give this, they want this bigger picture and this bigger outcome and I will say an incentive to actually take things forward.
I would like to add two things I think very important. Uh, which one is for the managers and for the leadership people, that all of us has to understand to have a succession plan of whoever joining the organization. It is not about the Gen Z. It is not about someone coming and joining as an 8 year, 5 year, 7 year, even 10, 12 year experience. Right, the time you start having that discussion just after post your induction, your orientation, and when you have your meetup with your new hire, then you take this point as the top of the priority to ask this person that you might need to take a week's time to go through with the company's details, policies, processes, portal, all that stuff. But at the same time, the topmost priority for us is to talk about what you're going to do for next 3 months, what you're going to do for next 6 months. In this way, the trust will automatically get built, right? Second, very important is the respect. I'll tell you, I mean, this most of the time it happens, right? Because of the differences, right? Because of people, they take it, sometime casually, right? For them, it is casual, right? And for us, it might be, not like that. The way we think is slightly down than, what they think, and we can try and manage, but when you are into the situation, I hope you all getting my point. When you're actually into the situation and when you have a phone and someone is called, it's like, this is what it is. I said, why? No, you can't do. I mean, see, this means that you are immediately reacting on the emotions, right? You're immediately reacting on the emotion, and which might, give them the feeling of, they might be offended. They'll feel bad about it. And, you need to take another week's time or more than a week's time to get them settled and to get the job done, right? Let's not do that. I mean, respect, this might be one of the key things. Let's be polite and try and give them the confidence in having the one-on-ones, right? That's it. Thanks, Matt. Thank you.
So I would add one more point to it. I think today morning I was just thinking through while I was driving that having one session of how to engage with the energetic workforce for the pre-generational workforce is also important, because as you rightly mentioned, when you have conversation with the Gen Zs, they might not look at it as an insubordination, but with our baggage that we carry, we will look at it as an insubordination when they respond to a kind of a query that we put through, and we'll be like, how can you talk to someone senior like that? And they'll be like, it was just a casual thing that we did. I mean, there's nothing personal, there's nothing that we wanted to harm you about, and just go with the flow. I think that's something that we need to actually put together. If you see, if you want to actually take it forward in the next 10, 20 years, that's going to be the key to respect, and also make them also understand what is the expectations, because they also come with the baggage of the oldies, X generation, Gen X people. They are like that because they always see their parents, they always see their uncles, they always see their elder cousins or someone who would be reacting or responding to them in a certain manner, and then that just gets percolated when they come to the office. And even we also come with the baggage that Gen Z energetic workforce, they're going to be kind of responding in this particular manner, and we need to have our responses preempted accordingly. So I think it works both ways.
They need to be surrounded. They needs to be surrounded by, the seniors, right? There's the one thing. I'll talk about the mindset, right? They want themselves to be surrounded by these seniors and more experienced people. Now, the time you start taking the suggestions from them, let's say if you say, see, for an example, objectives, the team objectives, right? You have a yearly objective. Probably the manager will define the objective and give it to them, right? That these are your objective for the entire year. Rather than doing that, if you ask, can you guys go and have 5, 7 pointers objective? What would you like to achieve for a complete year, right? Which means that they feel good. Oh my God, I mean, he's asking us to finalize the objective for ourselves, right? So now when you give them the confidence of taking the ownership, which means that they understand, okay, now I am the part of something, right? And they feel connected, they feel emotional, right? Right. Fabulous. Anu, I think you need to manage the
So I
time,
think
otherwise we guys
we've had few very good pointers in this whole discussion. A is, when you are designing things, understand what's in it for them. B has been around, respect, which is, I think, extremely important. Empathy around, different generations, where they're coming from on both the end, and as well as, planning their careers. How do we help them achieve more, right? Which also entails how do we get them participated into our goal setting exercises, setting up your objectives. So I think we've already started off in the discussing around the next topic, which is around collaboration and team dynamics. Yashpal, I'll ask you this question is in terms of how do you? I think that this incident around the mailer about a meeting, right, where you sit through, was such a classic example, right? What do you think the Gen Zs prefer to? How do they prefer to collaborate, right? Is it through async tools? Given that they're constantly on their phone texting, is it constant messaging? Are there in-person meetings that they look forward to? So, and as well as this, when you think about team dynamics, I want to understand that what frustrates them from a Generation Z's point of view, right? Across the cross-generational interactions that we have, what is it? What are their certain frustrations that they may have? How do they like to collaborate, and what are the frustrations that they face?
think I'm not targeting Gen Zs here. I think I also get frustrated. Everyone gets frustrated while on something, right? Um, and obviously, like I said, I mean about some of a very traditional and regular way of working the way you have been operating so far since ages, right? Which is what they most hate. So I'll tell you, I mean, for an example, I mean, if you have something, right? See, they hate email conversation, first of all, right? If you have something to put in, a point, right, which is like an critical or maybe whatever, then if you go and write and say, okay, being a manager, that you'll not take a courage to call, right? And you will not text, right? You'd rather go on the email, you email, type the entire long story and everything, and then you click on send, and it's like, what is this? You have the time whole day to look at every single pointers, and you cover it all. Rather, you just ping, Hamed, you're there. The person will say, yes, I'm available. You'll go on a call, you'll talk about it, you'll say, okay, I got to know about this and that and all that. Any challenges, any issues? They said, yeah, I mean, I was feeling that and all that. Why did not you tell me, right? I mean, you can talk around it. We can probably, worked on, few of the things, what you feel that there are still major challenges, from your end. The time you start talking to them on one-on-one rather than writing emails, right? This will give them the confidence that, I've got a right boss. One thing, that he hates writing the long emails. Second, if you don't invite them on unnecessary meetings, right? So for an example, right, I would like to talk to someone who is taking care of as a spoke for one department for me, right? A lead, right? And then at the same time, on the same call, I will ask another department's lead, a spoke, on the same call and wait and ask that person to wait for half an hour to listen the conversation what I am having it for the department, right? Which she has never worked on. She was like, what the hell? Why are you asking me to wait for half an hour, right? I would have used my Instagram and my Facebook, while scrolling the reels, right? I have no work and you are asking one. See, it's about the video calls, right? They can't do that. And probably there must be a situation wherein you ask questions at the same time. Dedicated time and unnecessary meeting invites, right, is again big, I feel that is a big frustration in most of the people. Third, the communication, right? Even the chats, right? If you keep on asking the same thing again and again, right, they'll feel again the frustration. If something is not been delivered into the business, which means there must be some reason, right? There must be some challenges. Rather than you keep on asking the same question that why this has not been done, why this has not been done, why this has not been done, you talk to the person, understand the challenges. See, there is no, there's no issues, right? There is no problem. So there is no, if you go and talk to those people and say, okay, if there are challenges can be overcome, right? So which means that if you keep on asking them, then they will feel, he's very rigid. I mean, he's asking the same question and I've told him that, this can't be done, right? Rather than he just keep on pinging, and if he could call me and talk to me and, help me understand, what else I can do to deliver my task, then this gives the confidence and a good feeling, in your person. So I think these are few of the pointers. I think there are many, but these are a few I must remember that for now.
So I'll just take a leaf out of what Yashpal just mentioned. It should be like, how can this be done together and how can we work things out together? I mean, instead of why this has not been done or why this wasn't done, I think, how can we do it together? I mean, this is a conversation that we always used to expect when we were the juniors as well. And as Yashpal put it, the question that used to come was, why this has not been done? What's the reason why this wasn't done? So I think I will say the emotions play an important role here, though this energetic workforce is devoid of any emotions personally. They are very clear that we are here to be connected as professionals, and let's stay that way only. And if you need to give them any kind of an impetus about how they need to conduct themselves or so, you just need to take that time out to take it forward.
Great point. I think one of the key themes that comes in is, I think, servant leadership is something that we've all read in our MBA times, or read it in the post, whatever works for you guys. But I think servant leadership still acts as a huge way where we can, cross that barrier between generations, be it somebody who is senior, be it somebody who is of younger generation. I think one point that contradicts for this generation, and I would like to hear how you guys handle this, right? They do not want to sit through the meetings, but they want complete context and clarity to these, to the whole organization, right? I would like to understand that what you guys as an organization or HR leaders do, where, the unnecessary burden of interaction gets reduced, but still the context gets through. So what are certain innovative things that we might want to do? And I think it just came into the 2 points where you were discussing, where they want to stay connected, yet they do not want to be connected in the same old way. So what are certain innovative things that you as an organization are trying to do, right? We try to do more AMAs, we try to do a lot of async conversation that keeps on happening so that people can drop in whichever context they want to use. A lot of knowledge management platforms are being used currently within my current organization, be it Notion, creating a lot of transparency. But how do you ensure that the context that the Gen Zs want is there beyond the transactional values of interactions?
Baba, would you like to take it?
Yep. So I can take it up, not a problem. So very, very, I will say point blank, you have hit the bullseye actually. So I think this is what we have all been trying to contextualize in this entire conversation. Important aspect is, they want all the information. They would want to be a party to all the happenings that's within the organization. At the same time, they would not want us to give us gyan. They would not want us to give us a purpose, objective, scope. They would want us to give us a brief summary about what is expected and in bite size. So what we have been trying to do, or rather what I have also been trying to do, and also influence my co-leaders within the organization, is to not to have these lengthy 1 hour, 2 hour meetings where we just need to give them a feedback. It should just be a 15-minute discussion with no PPT, no Excel sheet, just a general talk, because you already have the information available with you in terms of what is it that you want to mention or communicate to the team member with whom you're having a discussion, rather than putting the team member down by showcasing what they've not been able to do or what they could have done better, gives them a little bit of more negative feeling, because it gives them a feeling of being at home, where the parents would do the same thing to them when they are not doing certain things which they are supposed to do, keeping certain I would say their clothes in the right place or their phones in the right place. So the same thing gets continued in the office. So we have tried to build in a simple, innovative, simple way of handling, like more to do with a fast food restaurant. They are more prone to eating fast food, processed food, rather than cooked food. So that's what we have been trying to do, wherein we have trying to reduce the meetings also, rather than having lengthy meetings, have short meetings. So even my discussions with the team, I've tried to reduce it to 15 to 20 minutes, rather than my earlier meetings, which used to run to at least 1.5 hours, with all the data points and the graphs and everything that would put together and make it more relevant and realistic from our perspective. So this I learned from a very simple day-to-day thing of, when you go to a party, you want the DJ to play the music that you would want to dance on, and rather than what the DJ wants you to actually dance on. So I think that's something which really correlates to our work environment as well. We need to communicate at the same time how they would accept it, acknowledge it, and act on it. I think that's the key takeaway for me. So if we need to actually build a future workforce which is ready to take on the ownership and accountability, I think it's everyone's job together. So I would not say only the leaders need to do it. The energetic workforce will also need to put in their own efforts to understand where they are kind of lagging and how they need to improve, because there are no free lunches. Everyone is here to earn the bread and butter. Someone might earn their cakes and cookies as well. But I think the basic rule is, if you need to be paid, you need to deliver. You need to deliver on time. And yes, as you Yashpal rightly put it forth, the timing, the flexibility is something which is just a number. What's important is the outcome.
We are, I think, ebbing into the next topic of discussion, that is, feedback and performance, right? I mean, there was a traditional system where we would put in our goals in the first 1 month or first quarter, and it will go through the reviews, and it will get through the organization. It's all set, and year end you will get another. You update your goals, what you finished. Your manager will give in your review that this is what happened, and that was how the performance cycles used to run, the traditional performance management systems, right? So what are certain innovations that you're seeing within the performance management space, right, which is also around alignment, around giving continuous feedback to people? So what are certain changes that we've been seeing, evolvement in the performance management and feedback systems for the organization?
So I think post-COVID, I think not just by post-COVID, I think we are hearing a lot, for the entire previous year, and I think still, I mean, the situation is ongoing. That we are looking, in most of the cases, in most of the companies, and we are hearing a lot about the cost cuttings, right? And because of that, it's not just happening in India. I mean, the things are getting routed to India as well, from the high cost country to India. And although I think it's not just with the IT, and you guys are aware that that every sector in India is like, as compared to the previous year, have started getting more of a business, right? It's about the objectives and the feedback, right? Which is truly start from the succession planning, right? So what is succession planning? Once you have the objective at the beginning of the year, right? So for an example, if I know you are working with me, right? You'll be reporting it to me, and then I will sit with you and to have the objectives at the beginning of the year. I will not set your objectives, which means that I will not set only, I want to set it for you. I mean, you also need to contribute on what would you like to achieve for the complete year. I might, out of 5, I might have 2, 3 objectives, which I would like to keep it from my side. And then the 2 objectives, I would say, okay, I think you need to do this because I know your capabilities, right? You might be good at the leadership, You might be good at managing the team. You might be good at something else, which means that you know yourself better, right? And then I know, a bit on parts of, your capabilities, right? Your potential. So what I'm going to do is at the beginning of the year, I'll try and set the objectives which can help me to have you at the succession planning of replacing someone. Replacing that doesn't mean that we're asking that person to go out of the organization, right? To use that position, right? Use that position and ask the person who's already on the position to be on the leadership. So which means that if this will go right from the top of the pyramid till the last person joining the organization, can help us managing the, again, I mean, people talk about the objective and appraisal by the end of the year. You give the objective at the beginning of the year, you never talk, right? You don't see the improvements, right? Unless you talk to the people on monthly or quarterly basis, right? You'll not be able to understand, whether this has been achieved or not, right? I remember one of my organization that we used to do, we used to have the objective, which is an ESG objective. So we used to keep 5 objectives to do some social work, right? And my team, I think if someone is here, then they'll also agree that we used to keep those objectives uh, just because we wanted to achieve that as an objective, not as a personal goal. But the sooner we started enjoying in doing something as an ESG, a good for the society, it doesn't matter whether it is objective or not, right? People have started doing more and more. So the objective to complete the 5 ESG every year, people have started doing 10, 12, they're putting plantation, they're going, here and there, which means that you're creating the difference in your objectives and giving that person, that voice, through your one-on-one, all the discussion. I think it's all about the frequency and having the right approach towards on whatever you are doing, right? Which can help you to get it better at any place. Thanks.
So I will just add one more point to it. So as Yashpal just mentioned, it's all about engaging and showing the bigger picture and how engaged the team member feels in achieving an objective. I think that is what is going to take us ahead. So I think, having a 1 monthly conversation or a 15-day conversation or a bite-sized conversation is I will say, is going to give you a result only when they actually feel that they are a part of the bigger picture. They are feeling engaged with what they're doing. Otherwise, you will also have a scenario wherein someone who is a top performer still wants to move out because he doesn't find anything great to actually continue further. I mean, salary is one aspect, compensation is one aspect, but there are these kids nowadays, they're not looking at only salary as something which is going to be a barometer for them to continue. It's more to do with how they are going to add value to themselves, not to the organization. How they're going to add value to themselves for the next coming 2-3 years, and they don't have a big picture of 10 years, 15 years. They take it a year by year at a time and then take it forward accordingly. So I think the feedback or the performance management or the discussions, you still need to be on your toes all the time, because you really don't know when the mind is going to take in something in a different direction, because they started getting into a conversation with like-minded people from their generation. I think this is something which they've been doing for quite some time, let's do something different, and you might find them becoming an entrepreneur. So you really don't know.
I mean, yeah, there's this huge shift where they're making careers for themselves, right? I mean, even people working with jobs would ideally have maybe a channel for themselves. They're teaching something, they're earning something on the side as well, making themselves as brands. And I think that means the engagement across the, performance management cycle becomes extremely important. Be, setting up the goals, hearing from them, making sure that it's participative, or, moving to more frequent feedbacks where, they get a chance to also voice out not just what they're doing, but what are their blockers and how we can keep on helping them. So I think we are at 4:53. Nikita, are there any questions on the chat if we want to take it? Otherwise, I have one more question that I would like to hear, Yash and Bala's view on. If you do not have any questions as of now, guys, in case you have any queries, feel free to drop it a question on the chat. we'll refer to it. So in the meanwhile, we have a good 5 minutes, and I think this is one more important thing that we need to we would like you guys to address, right? So things between autonomy and structure, right? As a generation, it is believed to have more independence. They've had information which has been democratized, where they have access to multiple level of information. They have access to so many opportunities, right? Not just with the same mindset of a 9-to-5 job. Given that they crave for independence and autonomy, how do they fit into the current structures? So, do you see the organizations changing? How does the mentorship, relationship changes? Like you rightly said earlier on, that it's not about training anymore. It's about coaching. It's about mentoring. So, how do you see the structure changing for these Gen Zs to thrive in the organization? Right?
Yeah, again, this has come to the same thing, what we have discussed at the beginning, right? Everything comes, from at one point, and this will get turned around. This will come again to the same point. What is there, right? I mean, if you mention about, the role clarity, you talk about the expectations, you talk about the coaching, the micromanagement, you talk about the navigations, in organization. And to be very honest, I think when a person joining the organization, right, we are not just talking about the Gen Z, right? You see the implication of not having the right approach towards your new hires will give you an high level, high percentage of, the attrition, right? And I'm sure that Bala will agree on this, and you will agree on this, and I'm sure that the people join this call, there are all professionals, HR people. So if you're not giving that feeling of, having that person joining a right organization for initial 3 months, right? Initial 3 months, right? Then you'll see the person in the second month will start looking for the another job. Doesn't matter he's a fresher or later. So that frequency, right? We are talking about, a lot of things, right? We are talking about, role clarity, right? Which means that we're talking about having the conversation at the beginning of the year itself. This is your objectives. This is what we're going to do. It is not just your objective. It is my objective and your objective. And what we both need to do to work together to achieve this objective. Right? So, which will immediately give the confidence, which will say, okay, he's the right person. Even if I might get stuck somewhere, he's saying, not your objective, not my objective. Let's work together to achieve overall objective. If you and me achieve the objective, and if I do the same thing with all the team members, which means that I am covering everyone and achieving my department's objective. If I achieve my department objective, then the company will achieve company's objective. If the company will achieve company's objective, then the share price will go up, which means that you will get a good appraisal, everyone will get good appraisal, right? Customer will be happy. Everyone.
Sure. So it's all about vitamin M at the end of the day. I mean, that's what is going to be there as one of the objectives that we need to work towards. But I think just to put it all in the right perspective, yeah.
The behind objective, you had it right. The hidden objective, every
Right.
leader's hidden objective.
Exactly.
The hidden objective of every leader is to achieve the department objective. And for that, whatever you need to do, you have to do it, right? Otherwise, you also work for the money, right? Everyone works to achieve, right, and role and position and, the compensation and certain hike, right? Unless you collaborate as if one team, right, you will not be able to achieve. One person cannot do anything. It's just about the teamwork.
So
Sorry to even interruption, Bala.
Yeah, just to put in the right perspective, I think working with this energetic workforce is not difficult. It's just that we need to work with them in a little different way. We just need to engage with them constantly. We just need to connect with them constantly and be there with them. I think not intruding their space. I think they also like to have their own space. So I think if everything put together, if we work in the right objective, life becomes easier rather than only becoming a teacher. I think more important, you just need to be a mentor or a coach. I think that's one thing which is what is going to take us ahead, or the other leaders to pick it up and move on from here.
I think there's one last thing, Anu, I think I will ramp up this. I have made something here. See, guys, I think by the end of the day, whether you're a student, whether you're an employee or a corporate leader, it all comes down to one thing: a purpose. Your purpose is to, is the fuel that drives you towards the right approach toward the success. So if you have the true purpose for your people, then means that you definitely will win. It doesn't matter the obstacles you'll get, you'll get it. I think every time you'll do and try to do something better, you feel challenges, right? You have the sense of not going to complete what you think, what thought process you have, but come up with a true purpose, and I'm sure that you guys will achieve what you want in your life. Okay, take my gratitude and apology for my thought. I can't help myself. I'm just trying to manage all that. Thank you so much for joining and
Thank
listening.
you, guys. Thank you, Yashpal. Thank you, Bala, for the great insights. And, I think as people within the people and culture space, it's up to us to bridge the generational expectations and create workplaces where we don't just accommodate a generation, but we are enriched by their presence. So thank you for for sharing your knowledge and sharing what you guys are doing in your organizations. We do not have any specific questions as of now. Over to you, Nikita.
Hi, that was a wonderful session, I would say that. And I would like to thank our esteemed speaker for the day, Mr. Yashpal and Balasubramanian. And a big thank you to Anushree as well for leading the session effortlessly. So if we have a time for 5 minutes, we have one question in our Q&A box. So Anushree, can you please check it once?
Sure. So yes, how do you create or maintain the balance of thoughts between Gen Z and millennials in the same environment? I mean, a few decades back was millennials and Gen X and baby boomers, but now it is Gen Z and millennials. So how do you balance?
You need to start talking to them first. Spend time with them. Simple thing. If I have time, I'll ask them to sit with me, and I'll ask, even if there is nothing, right, and I'll ask what's the plan for the weekend, right? Okay, I mean, I can't talk many things on this call right now, but there are many ways, right? You just need to talk. You just need to understand them, right? And the time you start understanding, what they see, every person has a different personality, right? It doesn't matter if it's Gen Zs or Bala has different ways of dealing with the people. I have a different ways of dealing with the people, and same goes to Nikita, Anu, and everyone is on the call right now. So the time you start speaking to a person, you'll get to understand the actual, the person, the aura, and then that's how you try and fill the gaps. Then you understand, that's how this person wants to get operated, right? Some people get offended early, and some people will say, okay, no problem. Let's probably take a breath and let's talk later, after 5 minutes or 10 minutes. That depends on person to person. The only thing to conclude this, that when the time you start talking to people, you'll get to understand better.
I think one thing you just want to add to this is you just need to be a good listener, number one. Number two, have that connect which get built over a period of time. It doesn't get built over a one conversation or two conversation, because it all boils down to two things: trust and confidence. I think if these two are there, the other thing of connect comes into play, and then we can have a dialogue and take things forward.
Great points. Communication, building that connection between the generations is becoming extremely important to ensure that we are actually moving towards the organizational objectives that we have. So thank you guys for very insightful session. Great key takeaways for people taking this discussion. So yeah, thank you. Over to you, Nikita.
Thanks everyone. Thank you.
Thank you everyone. Thank you participants for joining us today, and we will look forward to bringing more insightful sessions soon. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Stay connected.
Nikita, thanks Anu, thanks everyone, thanks Bala.
Bye.
Thanks.